My name's Mark Davies, and I'm Chief Commercial Officer here at MK Dons Football Club, obviously here in Milton Keynes. In essence, it's managing all of the revenue streams that a sports club might have, really. The obvious ones are ticketing, making sure we sell enough tickets on a match day, into retail, how many shirts can we sell, and ultimately the other parts of business through to sponsorship, the names on the shirts and the value that has. I mean, ultimately, I've been passionate about sport from a very young age, like the majority of the country, and had dreams of, dare I say, becoming a footballer at one stage. And when they were cruelly dashed at 17, 18, I just knew that I wanted to work in the industry, really. So, I finished university, had my first job at Coventry City Football Club and in the marketing department, and kind of grown ever since. Really, I really liked. The revenue side, the commercial side of sports teams, and ultimately the role that plays in ultimately bringing success on the field. The more money we bring in, whether it's better players, better environment, better facilities, that all in all should 99 times out of 100 have a direct correlation with whether the team performs well on the field. So if I can't be a footballer, it's the second best thing in terms of that piece, really. I think there's two hats to wear. There's the hat of going, what is the right thing to do? And I think sustainability always comes front and centre in that sort of regard, and in terms of the responsibility we have in the area to the environment and all the other bits with it. And then I think the second part of that is ultimately listening to our customers, and if they are certainly generationally we've never been as much aware of our protection of the planet and all the other pieces through that. So actually, by us facilitating what they're asking, we will ultimately grow as a business, on and off the field. The two big ones that are always there is almost, talk a scenario when you've got 30,000 people here every other Saturday. What does that look like in terms of carbon footprint and the food we eat, or the wastage of the food that we eat, the cups and the recyclable nature of the waste that comes with it, really. So for us as a club and any sports club, there's that real big piece around the match day. We call it F&B as such, really, and how are we recycling, limiting waste, and all that, making sure we are as friendly as possible in that regard. And then the other part of that is again linked to the match days, but around how people are getting to the grounds. Is it 30,000 cars, or is it public transport? What are the ways that we can help the environment? You've got to find what is right, but ultimately we're a commercial business as well at the same time. And one of my previous clubs, it was a pretty well-known rugby club, and we trialled serving pints in sustainable, I think it was paper cups, and the uproar off the back of it and all the other bits there, and we just hadn't got the blend right. So then we came to like the multi-use plastics and things like that. So you end up finding a halfway measure, but you have to listen to your audience at the same time. We're a really new club. So we're an amalgamation of about 7 businesses literally in the last year or so. And actually we're at the right at the point where we are saying, what do we stand for? Where do we want to go? And how does this look like, really? So we're we would never claim to be a Forest Green or anyone like that who are renowned for this sort of activity. But we're quite, we're very tight on electricity usage and turning lights off and all of the kind of the entry level things that we would do. But for us, kind of looking at where we train and how we've got here and what those opportunities are to kind of certainly down the solar panel route and the recycling pieces and where our waste goes after a match day. It's all stuff that we're logging and exploring in its infancy, for sure. Yeah, if we can get every supporter just doing that little bit more, and collectively as a club we can datafy it or put a number on it, and then at least we've got a start and an end point, and we know we can do that. But we'll never change behaviours overnight as such, and nor would we try to really. So I think sport's very good at doing little things better because that's the nature of the beast. But I have worked at clubs where there's 5 different bins on the way out, and you put the cups and everything in. We've used I think it was coconut skin and all these sort of things. So they're all active conversations in terms of us as a collaborative business. So I think we are open to anything. We're just being more socially responsible. I think the next stage is going, right, what does great look like over the next 3 years, and how do we be great in this space? Sport is an industry kind of like no other, really. So, of course, you need hard work, dedication, but I also think that you need to bring something different to the role. So I always, I talk about this, that we're a really small team, and having someone who, whether you look at commercial marketing and all those, really time-consuming day jobs as such, but going into the sustainability, it's having that person that can bring something different to it. They can do all these other, but actually, why this is important, can build a plan to get you from A to Z, but ultimately represents, I keep going back to it, what our audience would like, and how we roll it out. Really, I think it's what puts you different from the others could be this sort of route as such, because it will only we will only be more responsible moving forward. That's for sure.